Well, this is weird. I'm playing a game of 2K, and not a second half, not a fourth quarter, an entire game against the Boston Celtics because, I don't know, I guess I just felt like it. Get to see the team on the floor, and I'll tell you right now, I haven't played a game of 2K in a minute, so there were some mistakes that I made, one of which being I sucked on the rotations for this one. If you remember the Kings series, I think I did a pretty decent job of staggering the starters with the bench and all that, but that sort of thing, it takes a while to get used to, and I was definitely not ready to do that for this one, so there are times when all the starters are on the floor and then all the bench is on the floor, which is something that I'm completely against head coaches doing in real life, so I kind of got my Scott Brooks on for this one, but whatever. Anyway, Jaylen Brown with a three-pointer. I mean, it makes sense to leave him open since it's not like he's going to kill you from outside, but he managed to make that one. Isaiah Thomas took a million step backs in this game to the point where it was a little weird, to be honest. I mean, I know he takes them in real life, but it was a little, too much. Evan Fournier with the three-pointer, that's good. The Aaron Gordon pick and roll was pretty damn effective in this game. I have no idea how that lob worked because there were three guys around the basket, but Aaron Gordon's still doing his thing. Marcus Smart, whose hairdo is really something to marvel at. Not only just how ridiculous it was at one point, but how many times he's changed it, which apparently that's worth noting for reasons that I can't think of. Pascal Siakam is in the game, and this is a really good sign that he's able to hit that wide open mid-range jumper like that. That was pretty damn impressive. This is not as impressive as our offense just kind of died. You will notice the 10-point lead. I do think if I go to play more games, which, I mean, I'll be real, I'm not going to be playing too many full games of 2K here, but I decided to do it for this one. The sliders will definitely have to be adjusted more in favor of the CPU. The main changes I made were I jacked up the CPU's offensive and defensive awareness, their offensive and defensive consistency, and then I brought those down pretty significantly for us, and I hoped that that was going to be enough to make it to where the CPU just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and even then it still felt a little too easy. I mean the defense was slow right there, trying to help out on Aaron Gordon. Things like that, but I don't want to put it on Hall of Fame because Hall of Fame just isn't fun. It becomes you block a shot and then it goes directly to the CPU for a wide open three-pointer. That type of stuff I'm not trying to deal with. So whatever, that's just something I'll have to mess around with. Trayvon Duval in the game, Jason Tatum with a lane space, that's damn good right there. Tatum's so effective being a guy who can set screens himself, and you'll notice I was playing him at the small ball 4 here. And he definitely has the size to do that. And I think Michael Beasley was the starting power forward for them, although Marcus Smart is defending Tatum now, which actually makes sense. So kudos to virtual Brad Stevens for that one, although Marcus Smart was not able to stay with him on that one. You know, I have Bismack Biyombo standing in the corner on a lot of these, a smart defense would just completely ignore him. Not much rim protection. I mean, the Celtics don't have much rim protection in real life, and if Michael Beasley is standing around the basket, that's going to be an easy pathway for Trayvon Duval to score. Isaiah Thomas just dribbles into someone. I think it was Josh Richardson. I actually had Richardson set to defend Isaiah for the fourth quarter, and he actually did a pretty okay job. So this game, there wasn't a whole lot of separation by the Celtics, but hey, a win's a win, And if you remember last time, as Aaron Gordon just disrespects Al Horford, we were a few games under 500. Now we're going to be doing a little bit more in this video besides just watching this game. We have some things to talk about, including one thing that I think is really going to be setting up our future well. But we got to win. That's a good thing. You'll notice I was on 8-minute quarters. I used to do 10-minute quarters. I had to lower it a little bit or else I would have ended up leaving this whole thing. Aaron Gordon had himself, he was 10 for 10. They had no idea on how to stop him in the pick and roll. Now, I simulated some games where 13 and 15 were looking pretty okay. But if you go to the right-hand side, why are the Cavs the 8th seed? Well, LeBron James is killing it, and their offensive performances seem fine. It's because they're god-awful on defense. They're the worst defensive team in the league by a significant margin. That's kind of weird that the Cavs are that flat-out bad. But But then we're also going to notice Milwaukee is 18-8. They're the best team in the conference, so what are the Bucks doing? I mean, Giannis is playing well, really well, but his scoring is still a little lower than you might expect. I think it's Frank Ntilikina, when they drafted him being the starting point guard, that really allowed them to go next level. We're going to do a 180 now. Hezonja's asking for more money. $11 million a season? Well, I got to be honest with y'all. Hezonja is officially on the trade block, and the reason for that is, one, Terrence Ross is playing flat out better than he is. Look what Terrence Ross is willing to re-sign for. Significantly less money, and he's actually playing better than Hezonja is. Like, I actually bumped up the salary a little bit, just to be a nice guy about it. So I can have Terrence Ross for like $8 million less than Hezonja to be better or at least about the same, which means we can actually make Hezonja a trade piece. But that's not the only thing to be excited about. This Lakers pick that we have in 2019, it's kind of a big deal. Because if you look at where the Lakers are now, they're really hurting because they did not get their pick for 2017. It was outside of the top 3. Look where they are. They are awful. There is a chance that we could get the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And if not number 1, I mean number 2, number 3. Think about the options that gives us, as we'll talk about that as the season goes along. Some other things, Marquise Bolden is being decent on defense, and his plus-minus is actually okay. So he's actually doing alright for the backup center position. But speaking of plus-minus, Bismack Biyombo actually has the best plus-minus on the team. So when he's in the game, we're definitely like playing winning basketball. And I think part of it is he's grabbing 2 offensive rebounds a game. He's shooting 62% at the basket. So we know he's already good defensively, and then he's like doing enough offensively. And if we look at some of the performances he's had against Milwaukee, against Cleveland, against the Wizards, he's had double-digit rebounds. And, you know, I think Biyombo, given that we are holding up at 13-15, which, like, yeah, is not the best record in the world, but given where we were last season, I mean, we're like fighting for the 8th seed right now against a really weird Cavaliers team, and I think Biyombo is a big reason for that. I mean, you saw it before, like when he's in the game, we're like an average basketball team. Now, of course, we're going to have to see if we can maintain that long term, and like, of course, I'm not going crazy because we're under 500 at the moment. I expect this to be a long haul sort of thing, but it is good that we have a center who's making an impact defensively and all that good stuff. So Biyombo, we should just keep him. I mean, he's definitely making us good. I mean, we saw before that we're a strong defensive team. I didn't look at that for this video, but I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why we haven't just fallen off a cliff. So we're going to keep him. He's grabbing rebounds, he's playing defense, and he's doing enough offensively, like around the rim as a big dude. But the big thing to take away from this video, Hezonja's on the trade block. We could potentially package him as well as our first round pick to someone, because this Lakers pick, I mean, this could be like franchise altering. This is like potentially a top 3 pick